Madam Speaker, last week Pope Francis admonished a joint session of Congress to follow the Golden Rule, to do unto others as you would have them do unto you, and said the Golden Rule compels us to, quote, protect and defend human life at every stage of development. And of course that includes the unborn. And that it's wrong to remain silent, he said, or to look the other way when individuals are put at risk. At the White House welcoming ceremony earlier in the day, President Obama spoke of protecting the least of these, taken from Matthew's Gospel, the 25th chapter. When President Obama says protect the least of these, he excludes millions of children, unborn children. Every day, Planned Parenthood dismembers or chemically poisons to death approximately 900 unborn babies, the least of these, and hurts many women in the process. Subsidized by $500 million annually, Planned Parenthood kills a baby every 2 minutes and has terminated the lives of over 7 million infants since 1973. A staggering loss of children's lives that equates to twice the number of every man, woman, and child living in the state of Connecticut. So I rise in strong support of H.R. 3495, the Women's Health and Public Safety Act, authored by our distinguished colleague Sean Duffy, to give states the authority to defund Planned Parenthood. States, indeed, Madam Speaker, should have the freedom to choose who they subsidize and why. But the President has denied that option to at least 6 states so far, including Texas, Arizona, Indiana, Louisiana, Alabama, and Arkansas. The latter 3 states had moved to defund in the wake of the recent undercover videos by the Center for Medical Progress. Now, because of the CMP videos, we know Planned Parenthood is also trafficking in baby body parts. I would note parenthetically, Madam Speaker, I wrote the Trafficking Victims Protection Act to try to end the cruelty of modern-day slavery, sex trafficking, and labor trafficking. This is a manifestation of exploiting the defenseless unborn children, and taking body parts that they have no right to take. It turns out Planned Parenthood has turned these babies into human guinea pigs, and it makes the abortion industry even richer. Although much of the media continues to ignore this scandal, Planned Parenthood's meticulously crafted facade of care and compassion has been shattered. Caught on tape, Planned Parenthood's top leadership, not interns or lower-level employees, show callous disregard for precious children's lives while gleefully calculating the financial gain. Which begs the question, do Americans understand the violence to children done every day in Planned Parenthood clinics? Have my congressional colleagues, has the President, actually watched the videos to care for the least of these? Have they watched them? In one clip, Dr. Deborah Nucatola, Senior Director of Planned Parenthood Federation of America's Medical Services, says, we have been very good at getting heart, lung, liver, because we know that I'm not going to crush that part. So they crush all around that part that's desired, dismember that baby piece by piece, but they leave intact certain parts, including livers, that will then be sold. Planned Parenthood's Medical Directors Council President Dr. Mary Gatter appears on the video nonchalantly talking about utilizing a less crunchy, her words, abortion method, again, to preserve body parts. Regarding the price tag for baby body parts, she says, and I quote her, let me just figure out what others are getting, and if this is in the ballpark, then it's fine. If it's still low, then we can bump it up, she says. Another Planned Parenthood director, Deborah Van der Heij, says, we're just trying to figure out as an industry, and it is the abortion industry, we're trying to figure out how we're going to manage remuneration because the headlines would be a disaster. Concern for making money, finding another revenue stream, but no concern whatsoever for that child victim who suffers when they are dismembered, arm, legs, torso, decapitated head. It is gruesome dismemberment abortions. That's what Planned Parenthood does. One woman, Holly O'Donnell from STEM Express says, and I quote her, she gave me the scissors and told me that I had to cut down the middle of the face. I can't even describe what that feels like, she says. I suspect that if the President watches at least one of the videos, and my colleagues on the other side, They would at least demand real answers concerning Planned Parenthood's inhumane behavior and violence that is directed at the least of these. Of course, circumstantial and because they're immature and independent. Yes. Am I good? Am I out of time?
Yeah. How much time? Madam Chair, I yield the gentleman an additional 2 minutes.
I thank my good friend. You know, mention has been made about Margaret Sanger. I've read 3 of Margaret Sanger's books, and one of them called The Pivot of Civilization. She talks about the cruelty of charity, of caring for indigent women who carry babies to term, that you should not give them help, that charity is cruel. She was a racist. Read her books. Read her birth control review. I went to the Library of Congress, got many copies of it, and read through it. She had many programs that talked about focusing on blacks and others for extermination. Just read her books. And again, The Pivot of Civilization is one of the worst. Let me also say to my friends, they talk about how these videos have been doctored. Well, there is a new report that just came out called the Coal Fire Forensic Analysis, and it finds that they are authentic and show no evidence of manipulation or editing. The events depicted in the missing footage fall into 5 common categories: commuting, waiting, adjusting recording equipment, meals, and restroom breaks. At each interview, 4 devices recorded conversations, 2 video recorders and microphones, and 2 audio-only devices. And I asked my friends and colleagues on the other side to take a look at that analysis. Again, you just attack the whistleblower, you attack the organization, but you don't look at the evidence. I've watched those tapes several times and was sickened by just how inhumane these individuals are in cutting people, little babies, to pieces in order to procure their body parts. 7 million babies since 1973 killed in Planned Parenthood clinics. They ought to be called Child Abuse Incorporated. It is the most unsafe place in America for a child to be in a Planned Parenthood clinic. I yield back to my good friend and colleague, the chairman of the Health Committee, any remainder of my time.
Gentleman.